So good, so good, so good.
New summer arrivals are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Get ready to save big with up to 60% off brands like Rag & Bone, Levi's, Adidas, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
This episode is brought to you by Google Chrome. You think you know a browser, but Gemini and Chrome? That's new. It can help you with practically anything on the web, like restoring a vintage motorcycle from a 50-page restoration blog, or finally break down that long article you've had open for weeks. Gemini and Chrome is here for it. Ready to make anything online make sense? There's no place like Chrome. Check responses, setup required, compatibility and availability varies, 18+.
This is one of the most horrifying things I've ever heard. In 2022 in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, a lightning bolt actually struck an apartment complex, traveled through the exhaust fan, down into the restroom, and hit the toilet, and then exploded the porcelain toilet. Now, could you imagine you sitting there taking a dump, and that being the absolute last thing? It would happen so fast, you wouldn't even know how or why you died. You would just be dead. And
eczema is unpredictable, but you can flare less with Ebglyss, a once-monthly treatment for moderate to severe eczema. After an initial 4-month or longer dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
And we're live on match day as Doug reaches for a buffalo wing. He's got it! Oh, and he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! What a finish! There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi.
that can happen. The fact that can even happen should terrify everybody. The fact that I'm scared to poop during a storm now. So I decided to look up if there was any other horrible things that have happened while people have been using the toilet. And no, the guy from Jurassic Park getting eaten by the T-Rex does not count. Now, while I've made a couple jokes, this is actually dead serious and about to get really brutal and really graphic. So guys, if you're into true crime, stick around. If you do not want to hear absolutely horrific, heinous tales of things that have happened to people in restrooms, then please skip this video. The first one was Ruthie Mae McCoy. If this sounds familiar to you, it's because it happened in 1987, but it actually encouraged the movie Candyman. So there was a scene in Candyman, and the movie itself was inspired directly from this event. Now, Ruthie was a 52-year-old woman that lived in what would be considered a project type area, and that's what all the news lines read. Now, what the news lines didn't read, and the reason why they wanted to focus on where she lived and what happened, is because of how bad the police dropped the ball in this case. So Miss Ruthie actually did call the police, and she was screaming that somebody was breaking into her bathroom and they were coming through the mirror. Now, the police actually thought this was a crazy person, considering the area where the phone call was coming from. They thought somebody might have been on drugs. And I know that's a horrible just accusation to make, but that's essentially what they thought. That's just how they were operating. It was awful, it was wrong, and it potentially cost her life. And even if it didn't cost her life and she would have died anyhow, they still have never found who did this to Ruthie. So somebody did come through her bathroom mirror. So what they found out is on the other side of this bathroom wall was like some kind of like area where like the pipes and stuff could go for the apartments, and somebody was actually in the walls. And they came through, coincidentally, where her bathroom mirror would have been. And this was a medicine cabinet mirror that would actually open, and somebody could like crawl through that opened medicine cabinet mirror. She was screaming that somebody was coming through there, and she made this frantic 911 call. and the 911 call abruptly stops. The police go to her apartment, and they just see that she doesn't answer the door, and then they leave. Now, every common sense person out there that has any, like, just even a shred of common sense would know if she made a frantic 911 call saying somebody was breaking in, and the call abruptly ended, shouldn't we go into her apartment to see if something really bad actually happened to her? But the police did not do that. They left. 3 days later, after no one had heard from Ruthie, the property owner had to go over there and drill the lock, open the door, and they found her. She had been shot 4 times inside of her bathroom, exactly where she was saying in the 911 call somebody was coming through. To this day, no one has ever been arrested for that crime. 2 people were picked up for that crime, but they were actually later acquitted. There was not enough evidence to hold them, even though that's who the main suspects were. The next one on the list is the absolute most horrific on this one, so please skip I'm just giving you another warning. I know people get tired of me yapping on here and they want me to get to the point. I'm giving you a warning. All right, this is the Matthew Secchi case, and this happened in 1998 in California. So this was actually at a beach in Oceanside, California. Matthew was with a family trip, so it was his mom, his dad, his aunt was there. I don't know if there's other members of the family, but anyhow, his aunt was the one that took him to this public beach restroom. Now, what's scary is today I was at the beach. We're on a family vacation right now, and there was a public beach restroom, and I thought nothing about walking inside. Well, 9-year-old Matthew said to his aunt, I don't want to use the woman's restroom, because she was going to go in with him. He was 9 years old, and I will go ahead and argue that is too old for a boy or a girl to be using the opposite sex bathroom, in my opinion. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. That's mine. Okay, I would not want my daughter going into a men's restroom because she might accidentally see something, right? Or vice versa. The man might feel bad because he didn't know a little girl was about to walk in there, Anyhow, he didn't want to use the women's. His aunt said, okay, I'll stand right outside. So she was literally feet away from the door, and he walked in. And of course, this is a multi-stall restroom. He walks in. There was a transient hiding in the bathroom, and for essentially no reason, his name was Brandon Wilson. Brandon Wilson, for no reason, slit Matthew's throat, walks out of the bathroom like nothing happened. He actually walks past the aunt and just walks away. The aunt waited for a couple minutes and thought, okay, this is strange. It's taking this long. He was just going in there to pee. She does call out to him in the bathroom. He doesn't answer. She goes in there, and he is deceased. To this day, there's never been a good answer of why Brandon Wilson did this. When he was in court, he actually asked for death. He said, please just kill me. They did not do that. They gave him, the death sentence, but it was going to take a long time to carry out. Why prisons work this way, I'll never know, especially when somebody's admitting to the crime and, they're not even trying to be remorseful whatsoever. In 2011, he did take his own life after being tired of waiting for the death penalty. I'm going to give you a dark, disturbing insight on this as well. Growing up, I had to work in my family's slaughterhouse. We grew up on a big cattle farm, and even now I take care of animals, and the game wardens bring us fresh road-hit deer all the time, and I have to process that for our foxes. That is not an easy task to do. To slice a throat from left to right takes an incredible amount of force, more than you would imagine. It mostly takes repeated strokes. For him to do this without any kind of noise or disruption, and for it to be so fast and so cleanly done, and I know this sounds really disturbing, I don't think that Matthew Secchi was his first victim. This guy was a transient that had traveled all the way from Wisconsin to California. I don't think that he just randomly decided that Matthew was going to be his first one. I just think that's where we caught him. So the next time your kid is going to use the bathroom without you, just keep in mind that has happened. And this is not the only case of that happening. There was a movie theater situation where that happened as well. But just keep in mind, you don't know who's in those bathrooms. Okay, it's a scary thought to think I could let my kid go feet away from me into a private area that I don't know about, and that could happen. Now, the chances of that happening are you're way more likely to get struck by lightning sitting on the toilet like an Okmulgee, but the chance is not zero. I'm going to butcher this name, but it's Leon Petrocelano. He was a 40-year-old professor at the Chicago University, and he was in Swift Hall. So if anybody goes to the University of Chicago and knows where Swift Hall is, he was using one of the urinals there when somebody walked in, shot him, and walked out. To this day, no one has ever been arrested for that. He was a Romanian author and a philosopher. So he did have a lot of like beliefs that some people didn't agree with. I have not read up on his books or beliefs or knowing what those extremes are. That is the best guess that anybody has of why somebody would have done this, is that maybe he was contradicting their beliefs and writing books about it, and they were just really upset about that. Kind of like how we've seen some people that get really upset about different religious things or, political things. Either way, no one knows who did this, and I would think that at the time that it happened, there would have been security cameras somewhere that would have caught something, or I just can't imagine somebody walking into a restroom in a college, firing a weapon, and then walking out without anybody knowing who it was. This was in 1991, so security cameras weren't everywhere like they are now, but at a place like the University of Chicago, you would think that there would be security cameras all up and down the place. You would think. I'm going to end this list with someone who actually deserved it, and it was Robert Durst. So Robert Durst did not pass away in the bathroom, but he did something very interesting. He actually admitted to the crimes that he had actually gotten away with for nearly 30 years in the bathroom. So HBO actually solved this crime. So HBO had a documentary that came out about him in 2010. And then years later, they were going to do another documentary about him, like a second part documentary, because this guy had gotten away with 3 different murders. And the documentary is actually going to be called Jinx, the cursed guy or something like that. So the documentary is going to be about, and you can actually watch this clip. It's on HBO Max. It's called Jinxed something. Anyhow, he had been at 3 different murders, and everybody just thought this guy was unlucky. Like, he was just always in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he'd been acquitted, like he'd gone to trial for multiple of these cases and been acquitted of them. There wasn't enough evidence. And this idiot actually admitted to it on a hot mic. He forgot his microphone was on, and he got up and he went to the bathroom to pee. And while he's in the bathroom, like in a movie, he's talking to himself on the hot mic that is being recorded. So he just forgets it's there. It's under your shirt. And he's peeing, and he goes, "I killed them all, and now they're going to catch me for this. They're going to catch me." And he's like talking to himself and just admitting what he did over the years and like how he's freaking out. And he's like trying to like hype himself back up to go back in there and do this documentary. He himself is the one that called the documentary crew wanting to elaborate more on some of the cases. Like, he was trying to make himself look more innocent on things that he had already essentially been deemed innocent for. And in that interview, he actually frames himself. Now, why he ended up framing himself and why he started freaking out in the bathroom is because they presented some evidence with him. The film crew found this. When the film crew was looking through all the evidence over the years of all these different cases, he actually wrote on a piece of paper, and I forgot what word it was, but he misspelled a word. And they asked him to like write it again. They asked him to like write something else where he would have to spell this word again. And he misspelled it again, which goes to show you it wasn't a one-time mistake. It was like he genuinely thought the word was spelled that way. And in one of the notes that was found on the dead body from the killer, he had misspelled the same word in the same way. That's like some Sherlock Holmes stuff. That's like some crazy stuff. But anyhow, the film crew noticed this. And when they asked him about this in this documentary, just like kind of off the cuff, they're like, "Hey," and they asked him about that. He was like, "Oh, I need to take a bathroom break." And when he went to the bathroom, he admitted to all of that stuff because he's just in there freaking out. That was so neat, I thought, how a crime was not solved by the police or investigators. It was solved by a film crew that had privy to information that the general public didn't get to see. Like, they're going through like all the notes and all the stuff that not everyone got to see. And that one little detail, somebody was smart enough and just happened to notice it. So that documentary was called The Jinx, The Life and Death of Robert Durst. And I went and looked at the 3 people that he was essentially going to get away with murdering. One was his first wife back in the 1980s. The second one was all the way in 2000. It was actually one of his friends. Her name was Susan. And the third one was his neighbor, like in 2001. So that's just 3 that we know of. Obviously, he's getting life in prison. But to me, you don't kill a person in 1982 and then don't kill anybody again for 18 years and then kill 2 people on 2 different occasions within a year of each other. I think there's probably a body trail in the mix somewhere between those 2 time periods, because technically that makes him a serial killer. 3 bodies on 3 separate occasions makes somebody a serial killer. That's the minimum requirement to be labeled a true blue serial killer. And we know that serial killers don't go 18 years without doing it and then all of a sudden just do 2 more. Like, it's just, that doesn't make sense to me. So I really do think that there are more that we'll never know about that he was responsible for. Made it to the end of this video. You clearly like me telling stories, or you at least will put up with me. So please go watch our podcast. It's called Matt from Nomads on Spotify and Apple Podcast. Matt, M-A-T-T, from Nomads, Spotify, Apple Podcast. On YouTube, it's called Nomads Animal Reserve. R-E-S-E-R-V-E. Nomads Animal Reserve. Thank you so much. A member of the Colorado Bureau of Investigation has just been arrested and is going to be charged for multiple felonies for tampering and omitting DNA evidence as it was being filed. Now, her name is Missy Woods. She's been doing this job for more than 20 years, and there is actually a convicted murderer released for something that he did or didn't do more than 12 years ago. He spent 12 years behind bars because his was one of the cases that she mishandled the DNA evidence from. And when I say mishandled, that is not what I mean, okay? When I say mishandled, I mean that she was purposely omitting things or purposely obscuring data to make it look like she was better at her job and processing things more quickly. So sometimes she was skipping parts, sometimes she was leaving out parts, sometimes she was just saying that, yep, it's a match, I guess, when it wasn't. She's going to go to prison for between 8 and 16 years, and to me, that is sickening because at the bare minimum, she should have to do the same 12 years this man did. Now, prosecutors are trying to retry him because he still might have done this. We don't know that. Okay, he still might have done this. But the nail in the coffin that sent him to prison was this DNA evidence that we found out actually isn't DNA evidence in the way we thought it was because she never processed it correctly to begin with. So in April of last year, this actually got overturned and thrown out. She has been stopped as of 2023. She's just now going to court. So we're just now hearing all the details, okay? And an intern was actually the one who caught her. So in 2023, an intern was doing some investigation into some old reports, just trying to get the feel of how things are supposed to be done. And she noticed, like, hey, this report doesn't look like it was done right. And it was all the way back from a 2018 case, meaning at the time she found that case that had been mishandled, it was already 5 years old and is now almost 10 years old. And it's still never been processed correctly. So they're having to go through thousands of cases to figure out which one she actually did or didn't do. Because right now it's looking like everything was done by the book, but we're just figuring out that she was just entering in whatever she felt like to make it look like she was the most efficient person there, and that's how she was getting promotions and getting ahead. But she actually wasn't doing the job. I mean, this is a big deal. Like, this is a huge deal. She should not get off easy. She's already taken plea bargains to get a lot of the crimes dropped off. To me, this is something that she should be doing life for, because how many people's life does she mess up? How many people said, I really didn't do it, and they were telling the truth, and this DNA just got mixed up? We already know now that they have already seen for sure that she mishandled evidence in homicide cases, sexual assault cases, burglary cases, all of the above. Every kind of case you can imagine, she has omitted or fast-tracked DNA in these cases that was used in courtrooms. We're going to see a lot more coming out of this, but don't be surprised if you see a lot of overrulings in Colorado. They're talking about they might have to let a lot of people walk because these cases are so old now that it's not like they can retry them with current DNA stuff, because they don't know if they ever have the real person's DNA or a fake person's DNA, or if she just checked mark the box but it never actually went through. I mean, this could be a major deal. And what scares me is this probably happens all the time and just people overlook it, because like the intern, imagine how scared she was. She was turning in law enforcement to other law enforcement. Like, that's scary because you don't know what side they're going to take. You don't know if they're going to do something to you. Like, that is scary to see a person in power of a, police force and have to turn them in to other members of the police force. We're going to hear more about this in the upcoming future, I imagine. But so many people could have spent a good portion of their life in jail. This man got to go home after 12 years behind bars. Like, his family came and got him, and he's always said that he was innocent. He's never changed his story. He's never confessed to anything. He might have actually been the murderer. But now we might not ever actually get justice for the man who was murdered. And this guy might have never gotten justice back for the 12 years he's sentenced. Or we're letting the convicted murderer go.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
Hi, this is Zoe Deutsch.
And Nick Robinson. Our brand new movie, Voicemails for Isabel, is all about those little moments that feel like the universe is looking out.
Feeling homesick, then your sister calls.
Hearing that perfect song exactly when you need it. Sometimes life rigs things in our favor, like learning about your new favorite rom-com, Voicemails for Isabel. Now playing only on Netflix.
Pandora Jewelry brings the sparkle to your summer, now with even better prices. Enjoy up to 50% off select styles, from personalized pieces to must-have favorites made for the summer. Timeless designs that shine with you through every moment, wherever the summer takes you. Shop in-store or online, now through July 6th. Terms and conditions apply. Visit Pandora.net for details.
Because somebody messed up the proof that put them in jail, we won't ever know.